It's springtime in Topeka, Kansas, and April showers are coming down.
It's just pouring down cold rain. And I remember that day pretty vividly because it being a Sunday morning, there's just not much movement going on in the city of Topeka.
Officer Aaron Bulmer has just started his pre-dawn patrol.
And this particular day with the environment and the weather, there wasn't much going on that day.
Then suddenly a call from dispatch shatters the silence.
There was a robbery to an individual.
A woman's been robbed at gunpoint, and a bolo, or be on the lookout, comes over Bulmer's police radio.
Dispatch had given us a description of a couple males, and they had described their clothing and that they were armed with handguns. Basically at this point right here, I'm just looking for armed individuals.
What happens next?
At the time, we didn't have a good direction of travel.
But without time to think, and with two armed and dangerous suspects roaming the streets, Officer Bulmer makes a quick decision.
When I initially got the call, so I was driving towards Central Park, and it was kind of a fork in the road. I kind of gone left. I decided to go right.
A right turn that will mean the difference between life and death.
And I'm just looking. I'm scanning from side to side. I'm looking for these individuals.
Then, around 11 a.m., just inside the park, Officer Bulmer tells our Michelle Sagona he spots someone. It's a child all alone.
For some reason, in the peripheral vision, I looked to my right, and he was standing next to a metal fence in the park. And something just didn't seem right.
Can you even believe this is happening at that moment?
No.
After radioing the other units to say he's going to check it out, he discovers the little boy is dangerously close to a pond.
I see a small child approximately 75 to 100 yards away from my car.
But a child standing in the park isn't something that's abnormal.
And that's very true. It was the environment that day. It was low 40s, and it had been raining, and I didn't see a parent nearby him. I just had that instinct, intuition that something was not right about that child.
The concerned cop races to the left side of Topeka's Central Park.
Could you still see him at that point?
No, not at that point. I come across a young female that was just walking, just a pedestrian in the roadway. And I had asked her, I just stopped my car and I said, hey, do you know who that child belongs to? Is that your child? And she says, what child?
The child seems to have vanished.
And then my heart just jumped out of my chest, and I started to feel a little worried here because it was just a matter of seconds, and this kid's already disappeared.
Then, call it a gut instinct or divine intervention.
If you ever had a moment in your life where you felt like God was tapping you on the shoulder, I had that moment. And I stepped out of my police car, I turned on my body-worn camera, and I started to walk towards the pond.
Hey, start me some help. Call 911 for me.
And all of a sudden, I saw a little boy floating face down in the water, and his arms are flailing out, and everything's happening really fast, and I just immediately run and jump in the water.
Officer Bulmer surfaces with the young boy in his arms.
The video takes your breath away.
In that moment is when I scooped him up out of the water, and you hear his voice cry. It was actually one of the most amazing moments because I knew that he wasn't going to die.
But with the frigid temperatures and sinking mud at the pond's bottom, it's now Officer Bulmer who's in trouble.
The pond was very muddy. I mean, I sunk down into mud where I couldn't move, and it was also very slippery too. So it was kind of stuck, but I was also making sure that I wasn't going to fall over.
Start me at AMR 1039, 15th at Central Park. Got a kid that fell into the pond. I just got him.
10-4, 15th at Central Park.
Come on, man. Oh. I got a civilian that got him out. He fell in the pond, almost drowned. I just got him out.
Good Samaritans hear the commotion and run over to offer their jackets and sweaters to the young boy. In minutes, EMTs pull up on the scene as Officer Bulmer tries to find out who the boy is and where he's from.
Where do you live, kiddo? What's your name? What's your name, kiddo?
The little boy remains quiet as paramedics approach.
I dove in the pond. He fell into the pond. Dove into the pond? Well, he fell into the pond. I dove in after him. But we don't know who he belongs to. He went under, but if I wasn't up there, he would have drowned.
Luckily, that wasn't the case, and the 14-year police veteran says it's all part of a day's work.
That's kind of the thing about being a police officer. Things change so fast, rapidly. You know, I'm on a call and I'm investigating a robbery, and all of a sudden I'm coming across a drowning child in a matter of seconds.
The unidentified little boy is taken away by paramedics.
Don't know anything. No.
Crazy. Crazy.
Then, cops hear something in the distance.
What's that guy yelling for?
Somebody yelling. Yelling at kids, man.
What's that?
I heard somebody holler like a name or something.
2 other officers had arrived on scene, and they went out looking for a parent. Let's see if we can find this kid's parent. Maybe they're out looking for him. And that's exactly what they found.
They knew he was gone.
They knew he was gone, and I had a frantic dad. I had a very scared dad.
And for good reason.
Elijah was autistic.
Coming up.
Whoa. You stay right here. Stay right here.
It had to be an emotional moment for you.
I broke down in tears.
Hi, Elijah.
The little boy and cop who saved him are reunited.
Can I have a hug?
And the child's mother relives the terrifying moment firsthand.
Did you know at the time when you rescued him that this little boy was autistic?
I did not.